Hello everybody, June here. Happy New Year. I know that it is already the middle of January, but let me tell you, the Vlogmas just utterly and completely wiped me out. I have not even so much as wanted to sit in front of a camera for a second since I did the last vlog. And yeah, I have a lot of feelings about that, but you know, the past is in the past and we gotta move on, and 2020 is here. And let's start by telling you what I sewed in December of 2019. Because of all the Vlogmas going on and I guess somewhat of a lack of sojo, I only made 3 things in December. The first thing that I made was Simplicity 8383, which I have made before. You may remember I made this in a gray interlock and then in a red floral Liverpool knit 2 and 1 year ago now, I think, something like that. But I had been sort of testing ways to style those dresses in winter, and I found that I really liked the way that they looked with the it's not like a waterfall, but it's a very old Simplicity pattern that is a clone, I guess, simulation, I guess, of a Donna Karan cozy that was a big thing back in the mid 2000s, and I've had that cardigan for a while, and I liked how the shape of the trapeze dress looked with the cardigan on top. The only thing I didn't like is that both of those dresses that I had made had the cold shoulder, where it had like a regular wide sleeveless bit here, and then it had gathered ruffled shoulders, and it could get a little bunchy underneath the cardigan sleeves, and I didn't like that, but I liked how everything else looked. So I decided that I wanted to make more of those dresses to wear under more of those cardigans, and so that's how this version of 8383 was born. I made it from a Liverpool like knit, and the name now escapes me, but it is from Finch Fabrics in LA, which I bought online, and I made more or less the same size as I did before, but I made a couple of changes just to make it fit better. I had talked about previously that when I had made those first 2 dresses, I wanted to address a little bit of the writing up on the center front because of the bust and also because of the shape of the dress. So this time I added an inch at the center front. These are cut on the fold. I added an inch, tapering out to nothing on the sides, and I think that has made a great difference in how the dress sort of sits on my body. And then to make it sleeveless, I made the same view I did before, and I didn't want the straps to be too wide, so I cut off some of the seam allowance, and then to finish it, instead of doing the sleeve, I just folded under the seam allowance and did a cover stitch with my cover stitch machine, and I really like it. I have worn it quite a bit and it looks great under the cardigan. Now I just have to get some fabric to make more of those cardigans because I really love how they look and I like how they tie together with these dresses, which you can wear in spring, you can wear in winter with tights and leggings, which is what I've been doing. And yeah, so I really like that dress. The next thing that I made was the shirt and sweater from Hjoon Patterns, and I have a blog post about this. Usually I don't just jump to make the patterns as they come out, but the moment that I saw this pattern, I knew that I absolutely had to make it, and I think the pattern had been out for like a day. Actually, I take that back. I think the day the pattern was announced, I bought it, and then I immediately bought fabric. And you've seen me make this before because I made it in one of the vlogs for Vlogmas, and it's when I broke my serger, which is part of the reason why I only sold 3 things in December. Maybe I'll tell you a little bit about that at the end of the video. I made the size 14 view B, which is the cropped length, with the sleeves from view A because I wanted like big, full balloon sleeves, which is what drew me to this pattern in the first place. Now for the body, I did lengthen 1 inch, and I think that fits me well. It's not cropped on my body, but you know, I'm only 5'1.5". But I think the cropped version without being extended an inch would have been a little too short, and then the full length might have been a little too long. So I think this is a very good compromise. So I won't go into much more detail about this because there's, like I said, a whole video about this in Vlogmas, which I will link here somewhere. I think it's up here. But I love this sweater. I really like how it looks. When I make it again, which I absolutely will make it again, I'm gonna make a little bit of changes. And also that's another thing, this pattern has so many ways you can go about changing design elements that I really think is a good bang for your buck. If you like, you know, funnel type necklines, it's there. If you like regular bound necklines, it's there. Big sleeves, not so big sleeves, elastic sleeves, belts, it's all there. So I love this pattern so much, and I really highly recommend it. The last thing I made, and I made it on December 31st, was the Tabaqui Sweater, which was actually one of my Make 9, and I wanted to get it in by the end of the year if I possibly could. I don't remember what size I made, but I'm going to say it was smaller than the size for my bust, because I know that they go. I mean, I know the design is supposed to be oversized, and I didn't want it to be that oversized. I did shorten the sleeves 2 inches, and I think they are still long if I don't roll them up. I like the look of the rolled up sleeves, but it's something to keep in mind. If you're short, sleeves for all these things run very long. That's one other thing about the shirt and sweater that I would do differently next time. And I do talk about that in my blog post, so I'll put a link in the description. But the Tabaqui Sweater, I made this sweater with a cable knit type thing. It's really textured. It's not actually, like, it looks like a cable, but it's just textured. It's not actually knit that way. And I bought that fabric, that lovely mint fabric, I don't know, 2 years ago, specifically for the Tabaqui Sweater. And I hadn't gotten around to that because I was worried about, first, I didn't want to waste the fabric because I really like it and I couldn't get more of it, and I didn't know how the Tabaqui Sweater would look, so I was very reluctant to cut into it. And then I was worried about transferring all those darts on the neckline to such a spongy fabric. But then on December 31st, I had just gotten my sewing machine, my serger back from the repair shop like the day before. I decided that I was going to make this one other thing from my Make 9, and I banged it out like that. Everything went smoothly. I really like how it looks. I think there can always be improvements, let's put it that way, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. I didn't ruin the fabric. It's perfectly wearable. The neckline is gorgeous. If I hadn't been in such a rush, a self-imposed rush, I would have done a nicer job in the neckline. But all in all, I really like it. And that's 3 things. And so now let me tell you about the serger. I took the serger to be repaired about 2 or 3 days. Actually, that's not true. I took some time. I took like about a week after the serger broke to get it repaired. And I took it in. The guy said, oh, you know, it'll just be a week because it's over the holidays. I said, fine. And then when a week had passed, he had not called me. So I called him. He said he hadn't had a chance to look at it, but he did. Well, long story short, the serger was at the repair shop for quite a while, and I was going crazy because I had so many plans for December and I had no serger. And if you don't have a serger and you don't know any better, you're probably wondering, why didn't she just make do without it? And I saw a lot of knits, but I use my serger for pretty much every project because I finish all of my seams on the serger. Yes, I can do French seams, but you can't do French seams everywhere, broadly speaking. And so I was trying to come up with a project where I didn't need the serger. And every time I came up with something I thought, oh, I can do that without the serger, then I realized, no, I need the serger for this, or I need the serger for that. So with the serger in the shop for so long, I basically, my sewing just came to a complete standstill. And yeah, I didn't do anything. And then as soon as I got it back on December 30th, which is why I tried to bang out the Tabaqui Sweater on December 31st. And all is well that ends well. The serger is fine. The breaking of the needle had just thrown it a little bit out of time, and it needed some good oiling. So it is working like new again, for which I am very thankful. But because of that trip to the sewing repair shop, the sewing machine repair shop, something else happened, and I have a new machine that I may just introduce you to in another video. But that is all that I have for this particular video. I do have some other videos planned because I want to talk about some things that I did in 2019. I want to talk about, do my 2019, Make 9 2019 review. And then I want to talk about some knitting things. And yeah, so I have to film that. I unfortunately, well, I had lots of stuff going on for work. I'm planning a conference, so I've been doing conference planning stuff. I'm applying for funding for next year, and that is like a full-time job in addition to writing my dissertation. And then 2 days ago, I came down with a case of sciatica, and I was either in pain or on pain drugs for the last couple of days, and I'm still in a little bit of pain. Anyway, all the time that I had planned for filming all of these things just sort of got away from me. And so here we are on the middle, I think it's like the 15th, 16th, I don't even know anymore, of January. And this is the first video I filmed this year. So yeah, long and rambly, but that's just life sometimes. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!